In this episode of Man versus Marriage, talk to a bro. Bro.
The podcast.
How good do you want your life to be?
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible.
This is Man versus Marriage.
The podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Man versus Marriage. It is I, the Q Dog, your humble servant, in the Moran family studio with my wife, Jeannie.
Hi. What are you pushing at? Because
It's an invisible button for you to say, what's up?
okay, this is where you tell me to say what's up, not
Oh, you didn't know what that motion
this
meant?
visual does not do anything for me. There's a lot of things I can put into that button pushing right
Okay,
there.
we got to stop right there.
Thank you.
So, all right. Anyway.
Don't push my buttons. Stop it.
Okay. In the studio as well.
Yes, that was a live slap.
is producer Ashley. Cue the applause. It's great to be here, and today we are going to talk about talk to your bro. That's really not the name of the episode, so don't be disappointed, but it is ask
I'll come up
a
with something
man
better for you.
about his marriage. Ask a man about his marriage. That, I know, dude, I know, okay? I already know. It's uncomfortable. There's a few ways that guys communicate about their marriage. It's usually guys standing around moaning and complaining about their old lady. Yeah, that's another word for it. God bless you. Complaining about their marriage. That's one way. And the other way is it really just, there's no other conversation. You don't talk a lot about it.
No, you're fine.
So what I want to do is I want to challenge you as our listener group to ask a fellow dude about their marriage. And I know that's uncomfortable because it's uncomfortable for me and how I share the show, how I talk to people about their marriage. But I got to make a disclaimer first, like we talked about, honey. I don't, because I have a podcast does not mean I have a perfect marriage. I want to just squash that idea, okay? But it's not about perfection. It's about making progress. And that's not like a catchphrase or anything else. That is truly the heart of the message. And marriage is like really a sacred place, and guys just don't talk a lot about it. Maybe that's just the guys I'm surrounded by, but we just don't talk a lot about it. I remember this one time where I was telling a friend of mine, no, honey, that's dirty.
But you're smiling.
I am, because it's funny. I didn't say it wasn't funny. I said it was dirty. I remember this time where I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, yo, bro, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your marriage. And, I'm rooting for you because I'll tell you, I'm rooting for you. I'm a big fan. And he got offended instantly. Why do you need to pray for my marriage? I'm like, whoo! It's like, hold on, dude. I don't know what's going on. I'm just praying that your marriage would grow. I'm praying. I'm here. I'm a cheerleader for you. But it was completely taken the wrong way. Like maybe I thought their marriage sucked.
They took one of those "Thus saith the Lord" things, like you knew something they didn't. And,
Maybe.
what do you know that I don't know? Kind of.
That's a heavy assumption on my part, but it was eye-opening to say, wait, I understand. Okay, I didn't understand at that time that it was sacred ground. I'm a pretty wide-open person anyway. But it's just in doing the podcast, it is very, very sacred ground. People just don't open up about their marriage. I think women more than men.
Oh, yeah, we have no problem discussing stuff.
But guys don't generally do it. So here's what I'm asking. I've got to preface it with this, though, as I started to and I got off track. I don't approach somebody to talk to them about their marriage with the idea that my marriage and relationship is holier than thou. I don't do that. I don't live under that facade or in that fantasy land to say that just because I have a podcast, my marriage is perfect. I'm not there.
He's not on a pedestal, I promise.
I don't even know what you mean by that. I don't put myself on a pedestal.
You have this persona, and it's not your fault. But it's been there since we were dating. People look at you and think you are better than, you are, how do I put it?
I don't know.
It's almost like they can come to you and talk to you about stuff because you won't judge them. They can tell you all their dirty stuff and you won't say anything that will make them feel crappy. But at the same time, they look at you as like you've never made a mistake in your life. And I hope we've kind of squashed that for the most part. There are still people, I think, that look at you that way, but that's not who Quincy is. Trust me. If you've listened, if you go back, we definitely have had some hiccups, and we're not perfect.
Yeah. So if I've come to you or I've talked to you, look, I share the show with all kinds of people. Of course, it's my show, our show. So I'm supposed to evangelize about it. That if I don't, why would I ask anybody else to do that? The point is that if I've talked to you about this podcast, or I've done a Facebook Live, or you've seen me live or in person, when I talk to you about about your marriage or suggest that you listen to the show, it's not because I think I can fix all your problems. It's not. Or it's not because I look at you and go, oh, well, your marriage probably sucks because of this, so I want it to get better. It's not those things at all. It is knowing that when you work on something on purpose, things will change and get better. And I want to afford each person I come in contact with that very opportunity, because I know the change that it's made in my life and my relationship. So when I'm texting with Apple support, I send out, hey, check out my podcast.
He does. No joke. He does. Anybody, he does.
And the cool thing is I got feedback from one of the Apple support people, is that when I send it through the text, it just pops right up and they can see the podcast. And I've had 3 of them start listening.
They're like, been warned. Here comes the text.
They're like, this is really cool. It came right up and they just started listening. And it's been a positive, whether I'm on the phone with Spectrum and I start talking to people, it's like, hey, check out my podcast. I mean, there's over 1 million podcasts now. So chances are somebody that has a podcast. I mean, there's 7 billion of us on the planet. The country I live in America, it's like 330 million. But there's a chance with 1 million podcasts, somebody who's got it. But still, I will throw it out there. And like last week, I was talking to a guy that I work with. And I was like, I just felt the opportunity arise to say, yo, I don't know where you at. I don't know if you're married. I don't know where you stand in a relationship, but I got a podcast on marriage. I'd love for you to check it out and give me some feedback. He's like, yeah, I just got engaged. I said, boom, this is perfect for you. You could advance yourself in your relationship
before you get a chance to screw it up. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, is that implying that I screwed up our relationship?
Well, no, but in the beginning we did really good, and then we got married because the advice that we got was not the best walking into marriage. And then everything that we hit our first few years, just there was nobody to walk in our shoes. There was nobody to tell us how to navigate. How do you navigate 5 children under the age of 5 in diapers? Nobody had that answer for me.
It's true. And we did a pre-marriage class, but there was no playbook on some of the things that we've been through. And I think that's the benefit when it comes to a podcast like ours.
And pre-marrieds back then is not like pre-marrieds now. They didn't cover nearly what you and I cover in the podcast.
Right. And we did it Church on the Way. So I'm very open about my faith, Christianity. We did a pre-marriage class, Church on the Way, and it actually did help a lot. It opened our eyes, but there's only so much you can get until you get time and experience. But what we give you is over 20 years of experience in our unconventional marriage, because
that's a good word.
There's not, I don't know how many people you will know that have 8 children. I don't know how many people you know that have had triplets and twins, 2
and
kids,
autism.
and autism, and kids that have had a lot of difficulty with their brain, have been through epilepsy and 20-plus brain surgeries, and just tremendous amounts of adversity. And it doesn't have to be that particular adversity in particular, but we're giving you the playbook on how to overcome these difficult things in your marriage.
It wasn't just the things that we faced, though. It wasn't just having the kids and having the autism and having the disabilities and the surgeries. And all, it was learning how to be married amongst all of that.
Yeah.
Because you could look at our situation and go, okay, well, you have triplets, you have twins, you have this, you have this, you have this. So how do we navigate those things? That's not what this is. Yes, we talk about that, we discuss it, but really the basis is, how did we stay married and learn to get back to being best friends and learn how to help each other get through those things and still remember that we're married. It's not just, you deal with it and I deal with it, and
Right.
we'll 10 minutes of sex and we're good to go. That's not a marriage. That's just living together. We
Well,
had to remember how to do it.
And to your credit, not only did we stay married, our marriage grew in the process
It got better,
of
way
this. And you can do the same. And like Coach Reed and I said in the beginning, maybe your marriage is okay and you want to get it to good. Maybe your marriage is good, you want to get it to great. Maybe it's great, you want to get it to awesome. Maybe it's awesome and you want to get it to orgasmic fantasy land. I don't know what the next level
Well,
of
hey.
I don't know what the next level is after awesome, but maybe your marriage is straight crap and you want to figure out how to take one step forward. That's what we offer. So I'm telling you, look, if you have listened to the podcast and you haven't seen any kind of change, we will give you all your money back. Every bit of it from that particular episode. Good thing it's free. But what I'm here to tell you is that not only did we stay married, not only did our marriage get better, but our relationship grew to a level that I didn't know was possible. And that's what is offered to you here through this. But it's not just the marriage. It has an effect on every piece of life that you live. Because for us, for Jeannie and I, where our marriage is truly dictates our attitude for where the rest of our life is, whether it's parenting or professional careers or friends or anything for that matter. If our marriage is solid and in a place of peace, even when all hell is breaking loose, we have the tendency to stay more firmly grounded because we are in a good place there. And there is highs and lows in your marriage. Don't think it's always the unicorn. It's always sunshine. It's always rainbow. There's no relationship that's like that. There's peaks and valleys. There's ebbs and there's flows. And you figure out how to make it through those valleys where it becomes very difficult. And in those valleys, we've found a way to move forward and to grow. And that's the impact that it makes on your life and on the lives of other people. So that's why I'm asking you to talk to a guy about his marriage. And look, I am 100% okay with you using me as the scapegoat. Do it. Tell people that you listen to this weirdo on this podcast called Man vs. Marriage. Just give them one idea about how it has helped you in your life or your marriage, because the goal here is to help people's lives everywhere and their marriages to get better. There's marriages on the rocks, in many cases. The divorce rate, I don't have the statistics, but it's always a number that makes me cringe. And the hope is that we get to them before it's too late. But even if it is too late, chances are they're going to make a go of it again. So why not prepare them for their next relationship? So the next one that they get to, they can be the best they can possibly be, and it can be a loving, fulfilling, lasting relationship. You're looking at me like you want to say something.
Nope, I have things running through my head that I'm not going to say.
I don't know what that means. Actually, I know what it means,
it's
but
filtered.
Okay, okay.
It's filtered.
So with that, here's the mission. Okay, this mission,
Choose to accept it.
should you choose to accept it, this is a major mission for Man versus Marriage. And I'm going to do an episode dedicated to this. It's so big that I went and bought the domain, because I think it goes hand in hand with what my mission is, my core value as a man now. And this came to me a couple years ago, and it was solidified with the passing of my grandfather. And what it was is there was a point in time where I wanted to be famous. I'm just going to throw that out there. I wanted to be famous, and I wanted to be famous because I believed that was the way I could build a platform to really impact the world in a positive way. And sometimes when people are out chasing fame, they leave out the most important people in their life, and that's the people at their home that are in their lives. And I made that mistake. And it was nothing that I did on purpose. I just didn't see it when I was out coaching football or starting this or starting that or starting this and that. Is I was going out trying to make something big to happen for my family, when truly what my family needed was not a famous dad. They needed a family famous man who made an impact on their life for where they were. And that to me is where I'm at, looking at the biggest impact I can make anywhere is at home. And then I try to duplicate that on the podcast so that you can go out and make an impact on other people in the same manner that we have made an impact on your life. And we hope that what that does is it starts to recreate itself. So man to man, we start doing this, and then there's a ripple effect. And the ripple effect is a positive impact on the lives of men who become better men. And after they become better men, they become better husbands, they become better fathers, and then they become better friends, and then they become better professionals. That's where it is. And my grandfather, I know Family Famous has been out there. I'm sure of it. That's because I went to buy familyfamous.com and it was already purchased. So I had to go with the .net. I'm cool with the .net. But looking at that, it's like I want to make an amazing impact on my kids, and in my kids' life, my wife's life. And then at some point, if they decide to have grandkids, I want to be a major impact in their life. Wherever I am in my day-to-day, I don't need some massive platform and to be famous to make an impact. I can make the biggest impact possible right here at my own home. That's got to be my number one priority, is the people in my life and my home. So that's where being family famous is. My grandfather's name and the impact that he made on our lives is going to go on for several generations, I know. He's a part of me. He was a long-lasting example of what a man should be, what a husband should be, what a father, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather, and a great-great-grandfather should be. Some of those things I'll never get to do. I mean, him and my grandma had that house for over 60 years. I mean, that's the one place where we all moved, whether I was in California or Alabama. We had family that moved out to Arkansas. We had family that lived here in Lancaster, people that had moved out of state and come back, people that had moved to San Diego, Temecula, wherever they've been. You could always come back to that place. That was the one lighthouse of the family. That's an impact that I won't necessarily get to make. But for him as a man, he made a lasting impact on us. He is truly the most famous person in my life because of what he did, how he looked after his family. He was brawn and brash at the right times, but he was also soft and loving at the right times. He was very accepting. You were always a part of the family. He was a father figure for me at the age of 5 because my dad just was not in that place. My parents got divorced, and he took myself, my brother, and my sister on to become a father figure. And the generations that went through that house, the people that grew up that were a part of his life, that is where his fame lies, is within the family. And I too want to take on that mission, and I want to be family famous. And that's what I'm challenging you with. Yes, my platform is going to grow. It's going to grow. But there's nobody who's famous who's ever made an impact so deeply on my life, so positively on my life as my grandfather. And I do look up to some pretty big people. Nick Saban, best football coach in the world. Hey, Spirit of Bear Bryant. I mean, no disrespect. But Saban's doing it bigger. Denzel Washington, definitely an actor I look up to. I don't know if I'll ever meet him. Sylvester Stallone, an actor I look up to. They've made some positive impacts on my life, but nothing is as impactful as my grandfather. And what he did for me from the age of 5 on. He used some words to me. He had 3 daughters. He gave some words to me that were meant so much to me. I was in awe. I was, what do they call it, gobsmacked, where you just can't even speak. He said, son, if I had an actual son, I would want him to be just like you. And that blew me away. Maybe because I had so much respect for him. And I knew what he made it clear what he thought was a responsible man and what was not a responsible man. And for him to see me that way, and I was his grandson, but to say if I had a son, I would want him to be like you, that made a major impact on my life, to say I'm doing something right. And for my wife to use words to me where she can see that I've changed and that I've made a difference, and becoming a better me has definitely made a difference in my marriage, in my parenting. That's where it is. Man versus marriage, the mission is to make you family famous. You have to build that. I can't do it for you. But that's my mission, is to be family famous, so that my kids' lives are better because of the man that I am. My wife's life is better because of the man that I am. My career is better because of the man that I am and who I am becoming. So yes, that is your mission should you choose to accept it. Family famous in life, in your marriage, your parenting, your friendships, and your career. It's about being family famous. Go out and talk to a dude. Talk to him about how this podcast has made a difference in your life. Let's start the ripple effect together and get family famous. That's it.
Good job.
Thank you, honey. Boy, I'll tell you, I'm doing a lot of talking today. Anyway, that is today's podcast. Go talk to a bro. I am Quincy Moran, a.k.a. The Q Dog. And she is Jeannie. Yes, she has been here.
I am. I'm sitting here.
The entire time. And the producer of this program, Ashley. She's in the house. And for all of us, this is Man versus Marriage.
The podcast. How good do you want your life to be?
You gotta live on purpose, for a purpose.
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible. This is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.